If you want to liberally assign Tea Party status to a few candidates from 2009, let's take a look at the breakdown of what the Tea Party has accomplished. Because you had another big win yesterday in Texas with Ted Cruz. Huge win. And the press isn't going to report on it. Tonight, 5 o'clock on GBTV, we're not only going to report on the win from Ted Cruz, we're going to show you the wins that are happening all over the country and the ones that nobody else is paying attention to that we are. Tonight's a celebratory broadcast, and so is today as well. I mean, there's no happy days. You don't even have the happy days.
Well, you haven't even taken a breth. Where was I supposed to do it?
Right.
You started babbling right at the beginning.
Holy cow! See what the show is. See what the show has turned into. So anyway, let's just take a look at what has happened since 2009. Here is a group of people that have never done anything political before. We're not political people. I don't know anything about organizing. Remember, in 2008, we were laughing at community organizers. We're not laughing anymore. And we're not these losers who are out in the streets like the Occupy Wall Street people. We're not out protesting anymore. We're getting the job done. Tonight, were you in the TV meeting this morning? Tonight, I'm going to do something on television I don't think it's ever been done before. Would you agree with that?
I'd say that's safe to say.
I would say that what I'm going to do tonight might have gotten me kicked off of Fox. If I would do you think?
Maybe.
Yeah, it might have gotten me kicked off of Fox. Something you don't want to miss. But it's a clear message, and the clear message here is right to the GOP. You better wake up, buddy, because you are done. Your days are numbered. Ted Cruz winning in Texas is gigantic. This is a very Republican state. This is a stronghold Republican state. Rick Perry, Republican. What's his name that lost yesterday?
David Dewhurst.
David Dewhurst. He's the guy that, and Pat will verify, how many meetings were we in where somebody said something about Dewhurst and they're like, Ted Cruz, you got to get off that bandwagon, man. He's going to lose.
Everybody told us that.
Everybody.
Politicos, billionaires, everybody said it's David Dewhurst. You got to get used to it.
Everybody who has power. Everybody who has power in this state said David Dewhurst. Now, those who don't have power said Dewhurst is not the guy. This is the people. This should send not a message to the left. This should send a message to the Republicans. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you have all of the power players. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're not doing it anymore. We're not buying into it. We're not buying into your stupid advertisement. You can't win that way anymore.
And what did Dewhurst spend? 3 times what Cruz did?
4.
And 4
At the
times?
end, it was 4 times as much.
And it was a lot of his own money. I mean, he's an extremely wealthy guy, and he can spend his money the way he wants, but it didn't work out for him.
Yeah. So let's look at all of the wins since 2009. And this is not where we're going tonight. I'm having them compile the stuff that is currently happening. The things that nobody talks about. For instance, Agenda 21 is coming apart in California because of the 912 Project. The 912 Project is not sitting down. And so it is absolutely coming apart in California. Thanks to you. Thanks to a group of people that nobody's ever heard of. They're not taking money from giant corporations or the Tides Foundation or anybody else. They're just citizens that are just standing up saying, we're not doing this. You guys have been lying to us. It's America in action. You've already won. Just finish the game. Okay, so here's what you've done politically. In 2009, Chris Christie defeats John Corzine. That's really the first beginnings of the movement where you're like, remember how much money John Corzine spent? Corzine spent millions of dollars. Bob McDonnell defeats Cree Deeds in Virginia. In Massachusetts, Scott Brown defeats Martha Coakley. In 2010, this is really where it started to happen. In 2010, Rand Paul defeats Jack Conway. In Florida, Marco Rubio defeats Charlie Crist effectively twice.
Yeah, because he beat him in the primary, and then he beat him in the general. And the last guy, Rand Paul, the big thing about that was, I mean, he won the general election, which was big, but he beat a guy from the Republican Party, the Republican establishment, that everybody thought was going to win in the primary. I mean, that's...
Charlie Crist is the same thing.
Yeah.
Remember, Charlie Crist, he beat him twice, too, because Charlie Crist was the guy. He was the Republican establishment. This is not a message to the left. You know, the media always said, "Oh, they're just an organ for the GOP." No, now the slogan is these are just crazy people. These are just people that just want to tear the country apart. They don't want any system. Yeah, you're right. We don't want your system. We don't want your two-party system, and neither did George Washington. We are truly patriots. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the Founding Fathers. We believe in America. We don't want chaos. We don't want revolution. We don't want blood in the streets. We just want our country back, not from Barack Obama, but from those who are corrupt. That's who we want our country back from.
But also Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah. That's redundant.
Yeah,
those who are corrupt.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Those who are corrupting the system, those who are trying to destroy it, those people who say they know better than we the people. You know what? We the people are going to make mistakes. Evidence, Barack Obama. We're going to make mistakes. That's okay. We will correct them. And it might take us a while to do it. I mean, Orrin Hatch, I know this is your last term because you're going to be in there you're going to be very, very old by the time your term is done. And so it's going to be your last term. But if you were 20 years old, this would be your last term. You barely won this time. Where you have a real stronghold, where the Republicans have a real stronghold, you just give us time. You just give us time. All of you Republicans are going to be the Republicans. The ones who are just, elephant is great. I like big government. Then you go over to the other party. We don't need you. We're tired of having people give us the same choice, a different animal marking.
True. I will say in Hatch's defense, I guess, he did not almost lose. He got taken to a primary.
He got taken to a primary.
Right. So it was closer than normal, but he did win by, 30 points?
The wrong guy ran there.
Watch. If he would run again, and he might run again, if he runs again, he will lose.
He'll run.
He will lose.
He probably will. He's addicted to it. He's, he'll be 117 years old.
He will lose. And here's the great thing. Here's the great thing. He really thinks, these guys really think that they have power. Orrin Hatch, I know. Orrin Hatch believes that he will get there and he will take people like Mike Lee out. He will take people, because this is it. The battle is in for the soul of the Republican Party, just as much as it is for the Republic. Because if you lose the Republican Party to these progressives, you're done. The Republic is done. And so people like Orrin Hatch, he's a good guy, but they're so far. You know what? Harry Reid is a great example. Look at where Harry Reid used to be. Mm-hmm. Harry Reid used to be in a place to where it made sense. Now he doesn't even know what the hell he's even talking about. Now he's for things and doing things that are so far away from what Harry Reid used to be. Mm. I mean, the Fed, he used to stand up and say, audit the Fed every single year. Audit the Fed, audit the Fed, audit the Fed. Now he's against it for some reason or another. Why? What happened to you, Harry?
He used to be against illegal immigration. Now he's for it. I mean, their souls get corrupted. And I don't mean this in a bad way to throw anybody under the bus. It just happens. Power corrupts. And so they slowly over time lose their way because they've been convinced or convinced themselves that, well, I've got to make this compromise. And they compromise themselves into a place to where if they could detach from themselves, get out and compare what they used to believe to what they now believe, they'll see that they've become everything that they despised when they got in there. I mean, Harry Reid is a great example of this. I mean, what he did with Mitt Romney, we'll get into it in a minute. What he did yesterday is despicable.
Really, truly despicable. And not for the reasons that everybody else is saying. Everybody else is saying, oh, my gosh, he just takes this information that he doesn't have he has nothing to back it up.
Well, it's in part for that reason, but not entirely.
It's in part, yeah. I think the second part of it is much, much worse. I do. I mean, you're attacking a guy's, you're going after a guy's dead father?
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, and you're also insinuating that somebody's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
When you've got zero evidence.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and it's just the person you have to be to do what he did yesterday is not a person you want to be.
No,
it's honestly, you know what? I have always said about Harry Reid, because Harry Reid shares my religion. And I've always said, look, I can't judge another man's soul. And I don't want to judge another man's soul. And he's a guy in good standing in my faith and everything else. We just strongly disagree. And I know that he and others in my faith may share Harry Reid's, opinions, and they don't know how I am a member in good standing. That's fine. We can't judge each other. But I will tell you this. I've disagreed with Harry Reid a lot, but I've never looked at him and said, oh, my gosh. How do you possibly say that? Because it wasn't I've said some things before where I'm, joking or I'm just thinking out loud and I just say the wrong thing. That's not what this was.
Oh, that was a calculated.
This was calculated.
Effort, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody makes mistakes, but this was calculated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you do that. I just don't know how you do that. I mean, it's one of the most despicable things I've ever seen.
Right. We're not here to judge. He's just... He's going to burn in the fires of hell, but...
No, see, now this is really not where... Okay, so let me go down this list. Mark Rubio goes after Charlie Crist. Mike Lee goes after Bob Bennett and wins. I mean, that's amazing.
Huge.
Mike Lee, by the way, best senator, maybe Jim DeMint. I mean, let's start naming them.
Yeah, well, you're about to.
Yeah, remember, we sat here in 2008 and said, where are all the guys?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they? Oh, I can tell you quite a few now. You have Mike Lee. You have Pat Toomey defeating Arlen Specter.
Yeah, that was a huge one.
Huge win.
That was because I didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me.
Nikki Haley becomes governor. Joe Miller wins the primary, loses the general to Lisa Murkowski.
Yeah, that was a mixed win, I suppose.
Sharon Angle wins the primary but loses to Harry Reid.
Another mix.
So close.
Christine O'Donnell defeats Mike Castle but loses to Chris Coons.
Yeah,
Meg Whitman loses to Jerry Brown.
That was too bad.
I don't know if Meg
10
Whitman was
out of a possible 12 points. 10 out of 12. What would you say that's a winning season for any team?
Mm-hmm. Then, of course...
Hang on. 2012. Scott Walker survives a recall.
Yeah, that was huge.
Lillenquist loses to Orrin Hatch.
That's a loss.
Now, Ted Cruz wins to Dewhurst.
Big.
David Murdoch over Dick Lugar.
Another big one, yeah. That
Huge.
was a surprise. I mean, there's a guy, Lugar's been there for 1,000 years.
Deb Fisher over Dave Heineman.
Oh, yeah. Nebraska, is that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maryland. We still have Dan Bongino to go.
Yeah.
And this guy is, he's unbelievable. You know him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a former Secret
guy.
Service guy.
Great guy.
This is the kind of guy that Mike Lee needs by his side. Jim DeMint needs by his side. Somebody who has literally stood in the line of fire for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is fantastic. Whether he can win or not in Maryland, I don't know.
Maryland's tough, yeah.
Maryland's tough, but this is a guy that we should help.
Here's a guy too. I mean, think about it. He's not going to be intimidated by politicians. The guy's had literally been looking at possibly getting shot every day for his job.
Here's the thing. He was one of the body doubles for Barack Obama. He served in the Secret Service under Bush, and he was part of the detail there, and he was part of the detail for Barack Obama. Left the service because he couldn't take it anymore, and it's like, I've got to serve. I've got to serve in another way. This is a guy who literally has stood as almost a body double for Barack. Shoot me, not him.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't agree with Barack Obama. Shoot me, not him. You want to talk about honor? There it is. This guy needs your help. Dan Bongino in Maryland. But
good man.
Look at the wins.
And last night, it wasn't even close. It was over they projected Cruz to win at what, 8:20, 8:15?
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as the polls closed, it was over. It was just over. That's how much. I mean, he won by what 53-46, but for a while it looked like he was going to win by double digits.